Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of one of my favorite shows, the Together for Sharon podcast. I'm Sharon's son, George. Along with me is my wife. And this, no, that's Grether, who's Sharon's daughter-in-law. And we were my mother's caregivers after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Sadly, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started TogetherForSharon.com in her memory to raise also awareness for all those still battling PD today, because no one is ever alone in this fight for a cure. Today's guest is someone who is really important to me, and we've become family over the last year or two. But it's an honor, like I say a lot lately, but it is to be able to now see you, hear you, and also advocate with you. So welcome to the show, Karen. Such a pleasure to finally get the opportunity to meet.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Mhm. Well,
It's an
maybe we
honor to
could
be
thank you. Maybe we could start. I think today will be, I try to think of a word for every show. This one will be a lot of smiling, I hope, and really inspire a lot of you, our listeners. Please share this and please support Karen and all her advocacy, which we'll also share in a moment. But maybe you could tell everyone, Karen, a little bit about yourself.
My name's Karen Patterson. I was officially diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's in December of 2016 after being put on permanent disability in 2010 with fibromyalgia. It's been a rocky road, but overall, my advocacy the last couple of years has given me a purpose, a reason, a formula for how to live my best life. And George, you and people at the PMD Alliance and the YOPN Network and Parkinson's Avengers and Yes and Exercise. The team that we have formed and that you guys formed around me when I needed help the most has helped me in ways I didn't know I needed and opened my eyes to a whole new world. I really, like you said, we've become family, even though this is the first time I've seen you like this, just us, other than in the, outskirts of all our different groups. You've been there for me in ways that I didn't know you could be, just through these online forums. And I just can't thank you enough.
Well, it's an honor to not just have you here, but also think of you and have you in our hearts. And that's really the reason why they, even through tough days, when I feel like I need to give up, because we put so much time, and some nights, we're talking online at late hours, but I don't sleep thinking about, my mother, but also all those like yourself still battling, and that's what keeps us going. Now it's tough to follow that, so I thank you for that. But that was beautiful, and we do appreciate it. I would like Greta to start, but before that, you did mention something that we often don't touch on, and ironically and oddly, my mother also had fibromyalgia. I think a lot of people aren't aware of it. Obviously, we focus on the show Parkinson's community because I love everybody in it. Even if you're not someone who wants to be in it, we still are all brought together for a purpose and the same goal, which is something I cherish and adore, and that's the cure. But until then, obviously, we have to still battle this for those still fighting today. But maybe you could touch a little bit about the struggles because I don't really see Parkinson's aligned a lot with fibromyalgia, but that was a horrifying situation. My mother would often cry in pain. If Grether, I'm sure, recalls. And yeah, that's thanks for plugging. I did write about it.
I finally got through most of it, and I knew it was going to be hard because what your mother went through with her stomach. I'm still a big person, but I've lost 90 pounds, and that wasn't by choice. People say, "Oh, great job." No, I was because I was sick. 60 pounds of that I lost in 6 months
Oh,
back in
congrats.
2017, and reading your mom what you went through with your mom, you guys did above and beyond what any family could do,
Thank you.
and I feel for women, so many women. I was just now got out of a women's support group, and so many women, they say 5 years, it's 10 years from what the people that I'm meeting, 10 years about that women are suffering with, obvious to me from what we've learned now, Parkinson's and Parkinsonian symptoms. But the way fibromyalgia was explained to me by a couple different doctors in different states is it's an umbrella term. They'll call it that until they figure out what else it might be. And that's what it ended up being for me. And it was that umbrella term. If I hadn't done things exactly the way I did, this is scary. That what your mom went through could have been me. A lot of those fibromyalgia meds made it so I couldn't think for myself anymore. And getting off of all those meds was the best thing I ever could have done. And I want to, with my stories that I write through everybody now, from the Open magazine to the screenplay I'm writing with Robert Cochran through his cinema therapy class, is to hopefully prevent women in the future from having to wait 5 or 10 years to get the right treatment, to get the right diagnosis, to get the right medicines, if they ever, as they start coming up with new ones now, thank God, book 2 is coming out. Hopefully we'll get some alternatives that, for one, aren't so damn expensive, and for 2, actually do something. I sat in with Ray Dorsey the other day, on his thing, and there's some hope on the horizon. I was glad to see, but we still have an awful lot of work to do. And unless we get out there and are loud and proud with everybody from Diane Bramble, Carl Robb, Robert Cochran, and Melissa Livingston, who else am I missing who's written books lately? Everybody. We got to be loud and proud and tell these stories.
Yeah.
And make the people that need to listen, and accept the fact that Parkinson's is the biggest, fastest growing neurological disease on the planet. It isn't a joke. And let's tell them all, George. I'm following your lead. I'm not going to lie. I do. I follow all of your guys' leads.
No, Karen, that sense of urgency is what's missing from, and that fire is what's missing from a lot of people with Parkinson's, without Parkinson's, their family members. They really need to have that fire under them to really find a cure, because I love that you advocate to find a cure. Because, that's what the goal should be. It shouldn't be to live with it, to better live with it. Everyone has different ways of, coping with it. And yours is through poetry and writing. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, I've wanted to be a writer ever since I learned how to read, honestly. And unfortunately, college wasn't something that my family could afford. So I became a hairdresser. Well, that was just one more nail in my coffin with the chemicals that I used for years, from the time I was a teenager until my mid-20s. And I always wanted to write. I've been stockpiling my poetry and writings and different things for years. And when I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, a friend of mine and I put it into a scrapbook for me, which is, Mother Nature. And the fun thing is, a lot of that poetry now, I found the right fit. It's out in Media Magazine. Some of it's on Venetia's Escape from PD website, which is something she put together for all the YACS alumni. Some of it's here, some of it's there. And I'm just so happy that, it sucks having Parkinson's, but I'm happy that I finally found the right fit, the right group. One of my behavior talk doc psychologists in Colorado said, "Oh my gosh, you finally found your tribe." Because I had been showing her this poetry book and telling her about my stories, and I had a bunch of research too about Parkinson's for years. And I would just say, well, one day I'm going to get this word out there, but it's not time yet. And August 2023, that time came. The PMD Alliance led me to YACS, which led me to all of you.
Yeah.
And my life, in other ways, personally, got kind of chaotic. But one person, my good friend Perry, explained to me, "You would not believe how much love there is in the Parkinson's community unless you experienced it." And I'm experiencing it. And it's a wonderful feeling for the kid that, yeah, I low self-esteem issues from the time of a young kid. And there's my next article in, in some of the articles I've done for the Open blog now, not the newspaper, but the blog, explain little bits of that. I just, it's bittersweet coming home here by myself, but being able to come home and say, okay, this guy's my friend. This guy's my friend. And I've talked to these guys in different web things,
This gal too.
Circle moment. I mean, I never would have imagined starting my life over at this age with a disease like this on my own. But so much of it, as far as in terms of being able to get my writing out, it's a dream come true.
That's beautiful.
One thing
I
wanted to do is, as you two can continue to share a few of the amazing and inspirational work you've done, wanted to thank you, of course, for our interview together online. Everyone can go to TogetherForSharon.com. You might recognize this young lady. If you click on interviews, you'll be able to see a lot more in depth with Karen. You can see how to reach out to her and on her advocacy. Also, a lot of the work she's done with the YOP network, another incredible network that I'm honored to be a part of, but the Young Onset Parkinson Network. They always find a place also for me, and that means the world. So we send our love and support to all of those individuals with the network. Also, you can follow and also communicate, which is amazing these days, because now you can speak to our guests literally one-on-one through LinkedIn. And also, one of my favorite areas is on Karen's Facebook, which we talk, daily, but you'll see some incredible resources, articles, and some of the great organizations you mentioned, and some of my own family, friends, both of ours, which is also.
And that's an invite right there.
Which one? This one?
Yes, the March 14th, Friday, we're having the hero's journey of baseball, calling all sports fans, join the fun. Robert makes these little Friday presentations are like I said, a lot of fun. The Christmas one was great. I think you came to one of them, George, and Valentine's Day one just blew me away. And I'm really excited about this baseball one. I've actually spent the last solid week contacting everybody in the baseball world, including all 30 Major League Baseball websites, inviting them to this. So.
Well, we definitely support Robert and all that you all do. So everyone, please again, follow and support Karen on these important resources. I wanted to now turn it over to Grether to follow up with another important area.
Yeah, Karen, I wanted to ask you about Mother Nature, your connection to nature, and how that's helped your worldview with Parkinson's.
Okay. Mother Nature is a derivative of almost probably about 20 years of me following Joseph Campbell's work and different comparative theology is what I call the subject. And, it wasn't just his work. There was a lot that went into it. At one time I called myself Mother of All before it evolved into the Voice of Mother Nature. I was a contributor to a holistic healing forum on holistichealing.com from, probably about 2005 until 2012. And just little by little, the more people I came in contact with then, it just evolved into the Voice of Mother Nature. But back then, my specialty was gemstones. Now my specialty is more the holistic healing teas. But and I learned a little bit through their forum about that. And it's just something that I started. I lived in the Catskills. I was surrounded by these beautiful trees and these beautiful mountains. And then I lived in the on the Western Slope, Colorado. Same thing. I always loved nature. I always loved trees. My very first poem that when I was a little kid that was published in the newspaper was about the weather. I understand the importance of the environment. I understand that what we've done to the environment. And I've always been kind of not hyper aware, but tried to keep track of these things. And we were a family that moved away from where I am now, California, looking for cleaner water, cleaner air, organic gardening. I didn't know, now I know. We moved from here to upstate New York. We were on well water. So as much as we tried to avoid the toxins, we just went from one bad situation to another. Yes, the air was cleaner, but there's just been so much damage done. Until we can start making the moves to reverse that damage. No, all our efforts to try to find a safer, cleaner place to live, we didn't really, as a family, do that. And here I am back in California.
Well, good news is
awareness.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So I don't think my water was too good either in Brooklyn. So.
Yeah. We were like in upstate New York. We were 2 houses away from the town barn downhill, and that's where they stored all the stuff for the snow and to put on the road. So it just went right downhill. And Ray Dorsey was just talking about it. Yep, those little lakes and those little towns. I was up there too. Beautiful place to live, but you live and learn.
Well, we reach a part in the show which I enjoy, and we'll both be asking some fun questions. Not that all the other questions weren't fun either, but I was wondering, who is your hero and inspiration?
My hero and inspiration, just one person, huh?
I mean, it's your show, so you can. We don't have as much.
Oh gosh, the late Neil Peart. The late Neil Peart, and his ability to weave his magic and his love for written word into song, and how much those songs have helped me throughout my life.
It's amazing how music, arts, movies, Broadway, and poetry can really change and stay with a person's life for such a long time. I know, as you probably read, and anyone out there who has a son journey, first book I came out with my mother brought me up in Broadway. So even today, we're actually bringing our children to the Lion King on. It's a Florida Broadway, but it's a little not as snowing as we walk in, and no one probably will be mugging us. No offense to my New Yorkers, but that's what it was like when I was growing up. But that stayed with me. And anytime I hear certain songs, like the song "Memory" from Cats, I think of the moment my mother and I were at the show together, and those things really live on forever. So I appreciate that.
Karen, if your poems were edible, what would they taste like?
I love these questions. Until you got every question.
I have so many. They'd be every flavor. You just don't even know. They'd be every flavor. Honestly, it depends on when.
Would they be sweet or salty?
Vegetables mostly. I did one of my I think it was crossing the threshold for my Shawshank version of the class. I had peas growing over the fence, and that was my writing. So definitely veggie flavored.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You had the opportunity to go back in time, so we're not going back to the future, but back in time, maybe 10, 20 years ago, to meet with, just starting out Karen. What would you tell her?
Lose weight.
No.
Trying that gluten-free diet 20 years before it inflicted it on me. It was inflicted on me because that I tried for years to lose weight every way possible. And had I known it was the breads and the gluten and the grains years ago, I had 3 hernia surgeries and I got sepsis twice. So with what the gluten does to your system infection wise, for a lot of people, that's how the allergy shows. I really think if I would have had that gluten and gluten-free diet before I had those surgeries, I might not have had those infections. So that definitely find that gluten-free diet and stick to it, no matter how miserable it makes the world around you.
Karen, if you could interview someone, who would it be?
Who would it be? I'm a big Rush fan. Probably Alex Lifeson.
Oh, sweet.
The combination
Love
between
that.
him and Geddy Lee would be awesome. But yeah, definitely, I would like to talk to, Lifeson.
I always
Nice.
tell everyone listening to send in questions, but my wife made up some of these and I might steal them because I do. But feel
Feel like
free,
yours.
everyone.
You do that too.
This is one of my favorite ones, and hopefully yours too. And everyone listening, if you were asked, which you might have already been, but to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it, and what actress would play your role?
I do have a working title for a script.
We don't want to give away any secrets.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know if I'm going to leave that one blank. But Melissa McCarthy, I think is her name.
Yeah, we like her, comedian. We love her.
She's hilarious. Yeah.
Yes. I'll leave the script blank because there's actually a script we're working on out there, and we're going
That's
back.
exciting. Yeah, I
Okay,
was
well,
going to ask you what were you working on for the future? You mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, my book's a little on hold. I've got a handful of poetry that I'm not sure where I want to put it yet. I've been busy, but the screenplay,
I love that. It's
the
beautiful.
screenplay that we're really excited about and trying to figure out how it's going to fit into the future. We're not quite sure yet, but I've got a really good outline, and I can tell you it has to do with baseball. Yeah, and a couple of kids that grew up in the Oakland Coliseum back in the 80s. So it's a good time. We had a really good time putting it together. I was really thrilled that had the opportunity to work on it with Robert for the months we've done. And yeah, we just hope that we can figure out a way to move forward on it.
Yeah, right.
My book, a not so funny thing happened on the way to menopause. Eventually, I'll get back to that. Every little writing thing that I've done with everybody else is practice. So I figure eventually, by the time I get that written, maybe we'll be closer to concrete cures. Let these guys do what they're going to do first, and then I'll get back to everybody on what I want to do with that. In the meantime, I am so busy in baseball, it's not funny. And I'm loving every minute of it.
Likely someone listening, unfortunately, might have been just diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. What advice could you provide to them?
Don't give up. Don't fall into the hype. Don't look at everybody else and be scared that tomorrow that's going to be you, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. And don't underestimate diet. Diet and exercise. It makes way more of a difference than you think, especially when you start taking that carbo levo or whatever combination they give you, because it makes all the difference. You eat the wrong thing with that medicine's not going to work. And just be your own best advocate. If you take medicine that doesn't agree, don't be afraid to tell your doctor and get it adjusted, and just don't write off anything you feel. If it's an emotion, if it's a twinge, if it's a muscle cramp, whatever, just be as open and honest with what's going on as you can with your doctor. And if you don't like something they've prescribed you, if it doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to ask for something else, or even better yet, ask for a different doctor.
I agree.
On that note, I don't know if Grether had any final areas. I always say not final. This has to be continued. I always kind of, in a way, joke, but do mean it. When the lights, camera, and paparazzi leave after our show, we have to keep this conversation going, because until there's a cure at everybody's doorsteps around the world, we still have work to do. So I just wanted to really thank you, Karen, and of course, Grether, for joining all of us. And thank you, the listeners, and all of you are the reason we do this. It's just been an honor and pleasure. I have a little note for you, or a message, Karen, and also everybody listening. We love you. We support you. We care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Grether and Karen, will advocate for you, and I feel together our voices are so much stronger. And I always end the show, at least for now, with I'm just getting started, because even though we've been doing this for 5 years, and sad how fast time goes. Even on the hospital chair when I'm there, or whatever happens in the world and time, I look to you, Karen, and see how much you inspire so many, and it makes me want to keep fighting until the cure is at everyone's doorsteps around the world. So just wanted to thank you again, not just for your time today, but for the past, present, and of course the future. I think we're going to be closer to a cure because there's individuals like you out there still making such incredible really segue in many areas of advocacy and with so many beautiful organizations. So thank you again.
Thank you, and same to you. We can do this.
Yes.
Even the power of we.
Yeah.
Or three is more. Thank
You guys
you,
are
and
funny.
thanks everyone, and thanks also to you listeners for joining us. Please share this. Please again support Karen through Facebook, Young Onset Parkinson Network, and of course so many other areas. And we'll be looking for the next show coming soon, and we'll be hopefully the first ones with our popcorn and sharing it around the world for Parkinson's awareness. So thank you again. But this has been another episode of the Together for Sharon podcast. And please stay tuned. As I said earlier, we have a lot more work to do until the cure is here. And until then, we won't be going anywhere but fighting right by everybody's side worldwide for awareness and hope for a cure. Thanks, everyone. And thanks for listening. We love you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.